Hi guys, just bear with us for another minute or so. I'm just trying to get a couple of things sorted. Okay, it has been brought to my attention that nobody was actually hearing me for the last few minutes while I was talking. I was trying to join from my professional sounding microphone and headphones and whatnot, and unfortunately, I seemed to be able to talk, and I was definitely not muted. And yet, I don't think anybody was able to hear me, despite me leaving and rejoining a couple of times. So, um, apologies, everyone. I think Elon has been trying to do his best to give us an example that not only advanced technologies like MPC sometimes have technical friction. I've been getting repeated "oops" messages from his platform. Perhaps it's just my phone. Perhaps it's just the day. But anyway, let's take it as a reminder that technical difficulties come up everywhere. And thank you all for your patience and your persistence in finding this link. And apologies for the fact that it didn't go very smoothly, or it didn't go smoothly at all. Maria, if you if you can confirm that you can hear me now. I did see some emoji responses this time, so I'm a little bit more confident that it is at least going through. Would you mind please just making sure that the updated link is shared in the Telegram and the Discord with my apologies? Could somebody just give me a thumbs up? Yes, good, okay. Phew, well, a little later than planned. Thank you for all those thumbs up now. Slightly later than planned, but we are back on our scheduling now. Thank you everyone for bearing with us as we navigate this. And actually, that's kind of what I wanted to start out with. So I gave this a rather grandiose title of State of the Union. Really, what I want to start out with saying is thank you to everyone in the community that has made me so welcome over the last 3.5 months. We are coming up on the 4-month point at the end of this month. It has been an incredible experience, full of a huge amount of learning. I am extremely grateful to everyone on this call and a whole heap of people that are not on this call who have not only made me welcome, but also shared your personal experiences, your points of view, your ideas, your passion, your advice, who've helped point out some of the areas where we really need to raise our game, and in general, who've just demonstrated commitment to us performing in the way that we should be as a project. So I wanted to start by just saying thank you. It's been an incredible experience for me. I am very excited and energized about where we are. I know that you've been here a lot longer, and actually all of you have collectively been through a huge journey with this project. And I know that it has not always been a smooth journey. In fact, I think many of you probably were part of the token release that happened back in, I think it was 2021, long before my time. You have weathered through a bear market. We are now coming back into more positive market territory, but you've seen a lot of the lows, not only for crypto but also for privacy specifically. Within that, it became a very challenging place, I think, to play. I think a lot of the great work and the work that we do that is actually very protective of individuals and that is very in line with regulatory requirements, it all got tarred with the same brush when things became, when things came to a head, I guess, with Tornado Cash in particular. And I know that that's had massive impact for the project and for how we tell our story. I know that we've had as a project a big focus on large Web2 enterprise customers. That is notoriously difficult. They are very slow moving, and it can be tricky to get them across the line. And I think also they do not. I guess their attitudes towards Web3, towards blockchain, has probably also evolved over the time. I think it's in a very different place now. But I certainly know from my friends in the corporate world that, the attitudes, the impressions, the perceptions, they follow their own cycles too. And then I think, we have the challenge that every project that is trying to do something groundbreaking has. We have an inherently complex technology that is hard to build and that sometimes takes longer than we may have expected or may have liked. That may be hard to understand. So it's not at the easier end of things to explain, and trying to help people understand what it does and why it's exciting and what it solves and what that means. It also can feel, I think, a little bit more aloof, in that a lot of the privacy applications or data privacy applications specifically feel more B2B. They're less tangible. There's less to kind of pick up and play with. Than in some ecosystems where you maybe come in and there's more for you to do from the get-go, whether that's the token launch pads or gaming. I think our use case or our USPs can sometimes lend themselves more to that kind of B2B world. And I think those are all challenges that the project has probably faced over the last couple of years. I think actually, as we come into the end of this year, I think that we are in a very different place, not only from external factors, but also from internal. I will put my head on the line and say that I feel very strongly that we're at an inflection point within the project. I think the external environment has shifted largely. The market conditions are dramatically different, both for crypto and also for privacy itself, and for data privacy specifically within that. As we enter an age of AI, as quantum computing becomes something that's hitting our timelines more and more, that idea of kind of security by obscurity, that feeling that, well, I don't need to worry about data privacy because I'm not a criminal, I'm not doing anything wrong. I think the recognition of the oversimplicity of that, I guess, the fact that there are soon going to be agencies or intelligences that will have the power and the capacity to sift through all of the data and make a very different kind of use of it than anything we've encountered before. I think that is changing the imperative on data privacy, and it's bringing it to the forefront a lot more. I think all of us, when we look at this crazy wave of innovation, feel probably an equal mix of exhilaration and excitement, and also kind of fear and anxiety. And I think that part of what we can do as a category is we can take that fear and anxiety piece off the table so that people can just embrace the innovation and the joy and the fun that comes with all of that. I think that in light of all of that, and from what I'm seeing already in the market, I think privacy as a category is set to pop. I think that it is going to really come into its own momentum in Q1. I think that we have an opportunity within that. And I don't think, well, nobody as of today owns the privacy category. Nobody as of today, I don't think, even owns the ZK piece of it, which is arguably the bit that has the greatest general mind share and market awareness. I think there is some that you would associate with it, but I don't think there are any that yet own it. And I don't think that privacy as a category is yet even fully established in people's minds for some of the challenges that we've also had. And certainly, I don't think that anybody has yet captured it. So that is both kind of, I guess, a reflection on something that we could do better, but also an opportunity for something that's still to come. I think within that, we've had this focus on Web2 enterprise. I think that focus has matured. I think that we have built a huge amount of learning on that. I think that part of that learning is this hybrid pitch that we've started to hone and that we're going out to the world with, which is starting to bear fruit. A lot of Web2 enterprise are not quite ready to go full public blockchain right now. And actually, we are able to offer them hybrid solutions. We are seeing that starting to bear fruit. So the years of effort are starting to bear fruit. By January, I expect to have an announcement I can share with you that I am very excited about. We've also been focusing on not putting all of our eggs in the basket of those big Web2 enterprises. So not only do we have that work in play, we've also been actively building out relationships with Web3 native projects that have established user bases, that have distribution, for whom we can solve a problem that they care about in a way that is uniquely enabled by our blockchain, by our technology. I will be able to announce those in the coming weeks. We're just finalizing a few big grant offerings. They are in this space, the kind of use case focus that we're taking at the moment, or that seems to have the most traction right now. So our brand positioning is still kind of, and this isn't a marketing slogan, this is just what I think we are, is the Swiss data privacy protocol. I think the Swiss aspect talks to the craftsmanship of the technology, the elegance of the technology, our neutrality when it comes to our kind of chain agnosticism, the ability to use us as a service, whatever ecosystem you're building on. The data privacy anchors our specific angle on privacy and what we can solve. And the protocol obviously refers to both the L1 nature of Partisia, but also all the protocols that govern our interactions, because it's really in that space of interactions that I think we are strongest. I think that we are birthing the next evolution of blockchain technology, by enabling people to, or by doing for data what Bitcoin did for privacy. Now, a lot of you have probably heard me talking about that. I think that, I've had actually very helpful feedback from various members in the community on how to sharpen that pitch and how to really bring it to life, and not forget the fact that we are a very performant blockchain. We have sub-second finality, we have true sharding, which gives us technically infinite scalability. We also have this system of bring your own coins, where we are better suited to people who want to be able to build on any chain and use us for it, that MPC as a service component, or to build on us in its entirety and build in a highly performant chain that has that USP also. So I think that the narrative is starting to really resonate, and we expect to be able to see people coming and building on us natively and building on us for data privacy, specifically focused on this idea of identity and data flows in the age of AI. So identity is going to be a big space, I believe. It already is a big space, but is going to be a huge opportunity as we come into 2025, both in terms of sovereign identity, digital identity, but also that kind of regtech aspect of identity as more and more finance and use cases come on chain. The ability to do things like KYC, KYB, AML, that intersect between on-chain, online, and real world. There is something within identity and proving who you are and proving that you're a good actor that we can enable in a very interesting way. We have use cases where we can remove roadblocks that otherwise will prevent adoption through multi-party computation. We have use cases where the integration of privacy enhancing technology actually unlocks better user experience, unlocks more frictionless products. So it's not a case of trying to persuade people to act on privacy. It's using privacy to unlock better experiences and drive adoption in that way. There's also the compliance aspect of what we can do and how they can safeguard individual identifying information, personally identifying information, maintain regulatory compliance. So that kind of concept of that multifaceted identity, also product identity, agent identity, model identity, and generally just this breaking this binary paradigm where you either have to give up your data in perpetuity, you have to give it up forever to anyone you want to interact with and hope that they treat it well. They have to pick up a liability in order to interact with you, because if they don't treat it well, they could face fines in the millions of dollars. I heard the other day actually a number of 10 million per fine. I'd previously heard 4 million per fine. These are big numbers we're talking about. This isn't just they want our data. It's actually sometimes a liability to them. The exposure of data in 23andMe wasn't just disastrous for the users of that product and that platform, it was disastrous for the platform itself. So I think that this paradigm of giving it all up in its entirety without fetters and hoping is not a great strategy. Or you don't get to participate and you don't get to play. It's this, to me, it's an unnecessary choice. It's similar in many ways to the choice that we had with our financial assets before crypto, where you had to trust the banks. You had to give them control over your assets in order to be able to interact with online banking, payments, transfers, or you had it under the mattress and you couldn't really do much with it outside of your immediate confines. I think that with multi-party computation, we can change some of that so that you can actually grant people specific use of your data, and they can only use it in that way, and they can't see the underlying information. There is nothing exposed. You retain control and power over how you reveal your information and to whom and to what purpose. And you can still have all the same interactions, but without having to surrender that to you asset, without having to burden your partner with a potential liability. we're starting to see that narrative, I think, really find a lot of interest. We've had a lot of very positive conversations, and we have 3 grants that I'm expecting to announce within the coming weeks. We also have our DeFi ecosystem. Now, I know that hasn't been a smooth process. I hugely appreciate ZK Cross and all the work that they've been doing building on top of Partisia. I think that having a DEX is going to be very important for us. It is going to change things. It's not the end state, and I appreciate that we were hoping to have the soft launch today. We are still trying to do everything we can to make that happen, but it looks as though it will probably slide to next week. The issue, the reasons initially when we were auditing and testing, that we found a bug. And that's obviously something that we take very seriously. Security is more important than everything else. That has now been remedied. Unfortunately, the issues that Party Wallet have had with timeout since their last upgrade have needed to be remedied. And we are expecting them to push an update today. And as soon as that's accepted by the app stores, that will remove a roadblock. But it's just, I cannot say it's going live today. I think it's probably more likely to be early next week. It is in the final stages. We are nearing the finish line, and we will take learnings over this process and how we might have communicated better, handled timings better, managed expectations better. I do appreciate that there has been a lot of frustration within the community over it, and I do apologize for that. It is not the end of the DeFi ecosystem that we are planning to build. You will hear from me in coming weeks. In fact, tomorrow we plan to make an announcement that will hit your timelines tomorrow. There's already been a grant agreed that we haven't announced yet, so hopefully we will announce that one tomorrow. But by the end of Q1, by mid Q2, we will have a fully fledged DeFi ecosystem, complete with our DEX, a lending product, a liquid staking protocol, and hopefully a token launchpad also. We're already working on improving our wallet infrastructure. The challenges we've had recently with Party Wallet have exposed just how dependent we are on that piece of crucial infrastructure. We'd already started developing Koala Wallet, or rather the team at Koala Wallet have been developing Koala Wallet on Partisia blockchain. It is now integrated with browser, so there are still some further steps to take, but you can now sign into browser with Koala Wallet. We have just completed the implementation with Transact of a fiat on-ramp, so people will have easier ways to start to work with MPC. That's going to be integrated through Koala Wallet. It helps ZK Cross. We can also potentially integrate it into the browser itself for people who are coming in to support us and to stake with us. So there is a lot coming, and I think that certainly by early Q2, we will have our DeFi ecosystem up and running. We will continue to work on the tooling surrounding that. Koala Wallet is looking at the last big thing that they're working on is making sure that anybody who does want to migrate from Party Wallet to Koala Wallet will be able to. In the meantime, anybody that is new into the ecosystem does have that choice, and they are a mobile wallet. So that is here. And then the other piece I think that I find very interesting is around the category opportunity. So I think that we have a really interesting opportunity within privacy to left curve the tech while everyone else seems to be right curving it. What do I mean by that? I think that, coming back to the category challenge that we have, it is inherently, it feels complex. It feels a little dry. It's not so easy to pick up and play with, it's not like a game or a meme coin. It's definitely at the more serious end traditionally. I think that if we frame the category as pets, as privacy enhancing technologies, we can both left and right curve it. I think that there is an opportunity to build mascots that represent each of the privacy enhancing technologies, where we can give people really, really simple, engaging ways to understand complex topics. So, your ZK pet might be, I guess I envision him as a kind of cool character, a dog who only answers in yes or no's, is very kind of monosyllabic, very binary. I imagine the TE character as being, a dog that's continually kind of patrolling his yard and keeping his yard safe, that's like obsessed with his yard. I think we have scope to carve out our NPC character, to make him, in my mind, he's kind of like a kind of a tech savvy Bruce Willis and Die Hard, like that veteran vibe, but kind of, interesting, cool with it. We'll come back to you guys with better ideas, because I do agree with crowdsourcing these kinds of things. But I think we could create, a handle behind pets. We could create characters behind pets. We could create agents to bring them to life and bring them into conversations, feeds. We could use them to explain complex topics in very simple, engaging ways. We can also create more proof of concept consumer interfaces. So we can take things like the salary survey example that we often use to explain NPC. We can turn that into a fun app, like a very light app, where in my mind, for some reason, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the UK from the 80s, but it's a kind of a Mystic Meg character, where you kind of, you can share a link with your friends, and each of you can put in your salary, and you can see it getting broken into the 3 components. You can see, all the different ones going into different pools or different cauldrons in my visual imagination, and then coming out and giving you the average. So you can play a game with your friends or with your peers, where you can find out what the average salary across the group is without anybody disclosing what their salary is. There was a battleships version that we started to build, battleships using NPC. We can create a consumer app interface that actually, front end, that makes that easy to play with and pick up while still communicating what NPC is. Bettina's got a ton of really amusing concepts, all the way from those ones through to private agent launchpad. Like, how could you build and launch private agents where you prompt them, or you kind of complete their training, I guess, with encrypted files, so that remains in your control. That, I think, is probably a bigger lift, but a very interesting idea. And it's something that we've already been testing with our proof of concept. So we've already proven that you can run inference on a model from encrypted data, through to simple ideas like, rate my bags, or, top dog, where you can challenge a friend. So you can see which of you is winning, like which of you has the best holdings without anybody disclosing their wallets. Now, we might end up finding something else that is 100 times better. And over the coming days, I hope to kind of publish actually all the list of ideas, so that the community can give us your thoughts on what you think would be most fun to play with. But the idea is to give people entertainment, to engage, to give them things that they can play with that would be interesting, and that fundamentally communicate that kind of core concept of NPC and privacy, and empowering people to have fun without having to risk the sovereignty of their information. And at the same time, we have huge credibility in right curving it. Like, Ivan Damgard is an incredible credibility marker, and he is very much still engaged and involved in the project. I had a wonderful session with him in Nordhus. He is in with the project a day a week. And one of the ideas that we haven't yet shared with Ivan, but I'm hopeful that he will be on board, is allowing us to create a Twitter profile for him, and using that to channel some of our more right curve content. Some of that can obviously come from the official handle as well, but I think that there is a lot of credibility in Ivan Damgard participating in some of the conversations that are coming through around things like quantum computing, and how that impacts around some of the concerns and challenges around AI, around some of the regulation that's coming through, and how that's going to change the space. We're trying to find ways to actually bring him into selected Twitter spaces with the right people, and seeing what kind of conversations those could open up for us. And then you also obviously have me and the rest of the team, where you've probably already seen I've started to do more AMAs, more spaces, more podcasts. We are going to be ramping that up. In short, if any of you know or can find somewhere that you think I should be, then I commit to being there. I will make sure that I am available for every and any opportunity we can generate, so that over the next 6 months I appear as often as possible talking about the project. The rest of the team are also here and willing to do that. Bettina's going to be creating more technical content. Sirli already has a great brand on Twitter and has volunteered to do more using it to kind of raise the profile, which I think also is very exciting. We plan to kind of to work together to elevate the visibility, and we do accept that our social reach probably isn't enough. So we're also ramping up the program with KOLs. We are increasing our speaker applications. We're starting to do more media commentary. So I've got another interview I'm doing tomorrow with a journalist. We had the CoinDesk piece. We've had a comment in Forbes just recently. At the same time, we have Matthias and Bettina and Bruce working on adoption, so that we can have a massive step change in our ecosystem, both in terms of the DeFi projects I mentioned, also the kind of more privacy centric applications I mentioned. And we've been working to remove friction. I do feel that there is still too much friction in getting tokens, in holding tokens and staking tokens, as well as in building on Partisia. We are making progress. So I think having Koala Wallet and Browser, having a fiat on ramp. I have some exciting news. As of today, and it has literally just gone live shortly before this call, there is now also, we've removed one of the pain points that I certainly felt when I first started trying to interact on Partisia, where, you have your MPC, you come in, you connect to Browser, you want to delegate stake, and then you realize you have to get gas tokens also, and that those are completely separate, and you have to bridge them in. And nobody in Web3 likes bridges. I don't like bridges. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm guessing nobody likes bridges. And actually now you don't have to do that. So when you connect to Browser, you will, if you don't have any gas tokens, but you do hold MPC, you'll get the opportunity to wrap your MPC tokens into wrapped MPC. There is an interface that will allow you to do that, so that you can easily and seamlessly get your first gas tokens and take your first steps in the ecosystem. So I'm really excited about that. There's been a new bridge design, which will make the bridge feel more intuitive to a Web3 audience. We have MPC as gas, which I know a lot of you were asking for a long time, and we have it now. We also have wrapped MPC, which means that we have MPC in the Ethereum ecosystem, and there are opportunities that opens up for us as well. And we've just recently recut the technical roadmap, and I will be sharing that with you in the coming days. I'm intending to share it with you next week. I've banned soon, which does. I do realize I want to use it quite a lot, so it's good that I've banned it. So my plan is to share an actual written report with all of you next week, and that will include a high-level summary of what we're doing in terms of the roadmap, what you can expect. I can tell you that the banking overview that I know a lot of our operators have been looking for, that we had hoped to work on in this quarter, but we prioritized instead improving the staking experience. That's scheduled for early in the year, so that's going to happen in January, February. We are also continuing to try to improve our staking UX, so things like automating your ability to accept delegations, making it easier for stakers to withdraw. Our docs will be fully rewritten by the end of Q1, both with Bettina working on it, but we also have a partnership with an AI DevX optimizer, I'm going to call them, who've got an incredible product that they've been building, and we're going to help them as a kind of design partner on it, where we can use their tools to more rapidly identify where there are gaps in our documents relative to questions that are being asked. And we can iterate a lot faster. They're also very interested in talking to us about training their model or prompting that model with encrypted files, so that they can have a more privacy preserving solution, which I think is another really interesting use case. We will have a new website live in January. So the final step of revitalizing our look and feel is the website. That is obviously a bigger task than some of the others. It takes a bit more time to change that than it does a social banner. But that should be live in January. Hopefully mid-January we'll have the website live, and then over the next couple of weeks we'll be improving some of the visuals, kind of replacing static visuals with animations. So the goal is to move it over as quickly as possible, and then to spend a couple of weeks just enhancing it. And generally just trying to continue to increase transparency with you guys as a community. So these calls will obviously continue. My DMs will remain open. I also, as I said, I plan to share a report with you, which will outline some of our key priorities as we come into 2025, both in terms of marketing and what that marketing plan is, what the marketing priorities are, what campaigns we think have most solve most of, are likely to have the biggest impact, I guess is what I'm trying to say. What our adoption plan is, a bit more about the projects that are deploying, as well as the technical roadmap for the next 6 months and what we're prioritizing, and more ways for you to get involved. We've spoken recently about plans to create a DAO. Those are still very much there. I'm getting some feedback through from the legal advisors on what that could look like. So I will include that in the update. A few of you have already had conversations with me about it, and I'm hugely grateful for the passion and the interest that the community has shown. I think that will continue to be an important step as we try to come closer with the community and try to drive increases in transparency and communication, so that you can get better line of sight of some of the work that's been done. Because I do think that sometimes part of the challenge is that we haven't communicated everything that has been shipped and all the work that has happened. We have a firm commitment to changing that. So you will see more regular updates from us. You will see more product updates, ecosystem updates. We are coming into a new year. We've been trying to clean house over the last few months, and you'll have seen us trying to follow up on promises around airdrop, around listing competition. We are sorting out some friction points with ambassadors around our invoice system. So we are committed to getting that all cleared out by Christmas, so that all of those kind of frustrations, we're trying to clear them out. Others will come up, we'll deal with them as they do, in partnership with you guys. And otherwise, I look at the future and I see established projects wanting to build meaningful solutions with us. I see those announcements coming out next week. That isn't just me visioning, that's actually tangible and real. I expect to make 3 announcements. I mean, next week might be tricky with Christmas Day. Not everybody is quite as workaholic as I can be at times, but it's just finalizing the details. I will be announcing tomorrow more projects that are going to enhance our DeFi ecosystem in Q1, Q2, so that by early Q2 we have a fully fledged DeFi ecosystem. And we're going to be sharing updates with you, so you see how those are trending, what's happening, what's coming, when it's coming, what it looks like, so that we do a better job of communicating to you the progress that is being made, where we're tracking. And you should see a lot more of us on all of your feeds. And I guess the only request from me is that you keep turning up, you keep holding us to account, you keep contributing. When you see our content, share it, boost it, help us. We're a project that lives with you and on you, and we succeed together. I have been blown away by some of the conversations and the caliber of some of the people in this community. And as we come into 2025, I'm so excited for the future, and I'm so excited for what we can build. And I'm so grateful for your trust, for your confidence, for your support, and for your presence. Now, having started slightly later, I've now talked for quite a long time. I will, as I say, I will be sharing a written version that will be, a little less free flowing. It'll be a little more structured. There'll be more information in there. There will be more tangible announcements because hopefully at that point I will be able to make them. You will be able to see the plans. And I look forward to the subsequent community call where hopefully you guys can come with questions on those and feedback. We're also going to be opening a forum where we can have more of these discussions in a structured way, and we can get more of your feedback in a structured way. I don't always feel like Telegram is the best home for that, or Discord. Forums are tried and tested, and I think they will be a good addition to our mix. But yeah, I guess at this point, I would like to just invite anybody up onto stage, anybody to raise any questions, to share your thoughts, share your points of view. Would anybody like to come up? Otherwise, I can invite people up. Let's see who we've got here. Pitbull, do you want to come up and say anything? There's a number of people here that I recognize, thankfully. We've got a request. Excellent. Oh, we've got 2 requests. Come on up. Frederick, how are you? I can see you're connecting. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine. Thanks. Thanks, Ed. I had a question regarding the Cardano partnership you're trying to establish. There's one. So basically, there's one that's already active, if I'm not mistaken. The Murgo, I don't know what it's called, and the new one you're applied on the foundation last time. Bruce shared it in the Telegram. What is the main difference between the two? Is there already a partnership established? What would be the next kind of partnership you're trying to establish with Cardano? If I can understand the difference between the two one.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess what we have with Cardano right now is we have very warm relationship. We have a strong affinity. I think that there's a lot of cultural similarity between the two communities. What we don't have is we don't have a bridge that brings ADA as a token into Partisia. So, we have people like Profiler who are building on both Cardano and Partisia. But there isn't a way for them to pay for the Partisia piece, the gas associated with their interactions with us in ADA token. And it feels as though having that will enable us to accrue value back to their token while we also drive value, obviously, to our own ecosystem. It feels like it will bring us closer together, but it's a major piece of work. And, it's not something... It's a major piece of work. The way that their protocol is built means that it is not a trivial lift, and we were encouraged by them to apply for the grant to move forward with that and kind of bring the two ecosystems closer. These grants, it's entirely token weighted vote, and I don't think that we fully recognized just how much work has to go into lobbying for votes. We actually had a really strong showing of unique wallets, but we didn't get enough of the token amount to push it through. It was an initiative that I think would have been nice to have. It's not going to stop us working with Cardano. We have warm conversations in place with Midnight, so that we can collaborate closely with them, especially as they come close to their mainnet. We have a strong point of view as projects where we see our technologies as being incredibly complementary, and we want to work together. We will continue working with builders in Cardano's ecosystem. we still find that there is a strong affinity, and they have encouraged us to apply to the next round. And perhaps, if we feel that it is still of interest, that remains a possibility. Does that answer your question?
Yes, perfect. Thanks, Ed.
My pleasure. Who's next?
Well, can you hear me?
I can. Yes, good.
So first off, this has to be the most positive live call yet for the project. So congratulations on you for that one. Then following
Thank you.
with the question is one
Mhm.
of the superpowers of Partisia blockchain. It's
Mhm.
privacy and multi-computation. In one of the
Yeah.
weakest side on the AI training is access to private information, which we fit
Mhm.
strategically right in the middle. Have we
Mhm.
done efforts into becoming a bridge for those companies that do have the important information and has not provided the information just because of private how the information is going to be used rather than just access strategically information without providing sensitive information about who provided the information, if that makes sense.
Yes, I think I get the question. It's a great
I'm
question.
sorry, it was
No,
a bit
no,
more complex than it should have been.
no. I love the question, and it's absolutely like I think when I think of use cases, the focus, the sentence that's in my head is identity and data flows in the age of AI. AI is definitely a huge opportunity, I think, for us because I do feel like most people approach this with a combination of excitement and fear. And I think we can remove the fear and they can just keep the excitement because I think it is going to change the landscape. And I think that embedding things like data privacy is crucial in terms of enabling us to go down that road without without compromising our sovereignty, our privacy. We have not only done a proof of concept that we can use our technology in this way, and that proof of concept has been very successful. So we have tangibly demonstrated, and Bettina's going to be making this more accessible to non PhDs. But we've tangibly demonstrated that you can prompt a model on encrypted content. We also, as I mentioned, the company that we're going to work with to improve our documentation is AI enabled. And one of the things they're really interested in is being able to train their AI model or prompt their AI model on encrypted documentation. So that would be another really good demonstration. And then actually there's another big proof of concept that Bettina's working on, and that will probably involve, it we will probably pick one of the proof of concept ideas that she will build personally. And it will possibly involve private agents, which I find very interesting. So she had a couple of deep conversations with our NPC experts around exactly what is possible and what we can do. And there are some very exciting possibilities. So I would expect to see more about that as soon as she has done the full feasibility. But she's a beautiful builder and she builds gorgeous UX. I've seen it before. So I think that that is absolutely a place where we are needed and where we are focused, and you will certainly see more, but there's already been some good progress.
I love that. And then the next question is barriers low enough so people can start to learn about um, learning about how to develop on chain and how to
Mhm.
actually use MPC for the MPC capabilities. and not just as
So
an
you were
L1, if that
breaking
makes
up
sense.
for me. Yeah, you were breaking up for me slightly, but what I think I got was, how do we make it easier for people to understand how they can use, the data privacy aspects of Partisia, specifically within their builds? Is that more or less right?
Well, it is more on the onto the computational side, because
Yeah.
other than the
Yeah.
multi-computation, we are an L1. So I know that people can use us
Of
as
course.
L1, but that is not the superpower of Partisia. So how do we lower the
Yeah.
barriers for regular people, probably mid-level developers, to use Partisia
Hmm.
multi-party computation?
Yes. So firstly, I do agree with you, but I would slightly nuance it. I think our superpower is the ability to combine both, to be able to do, advanced multi-party computation and solve some of the biggest opportunities out there, on a highly performant blockchain that is also really fast and very scalable. And I think it's both, but I do agree. Like our strongest USP is anchored in multi-party computation. We will have completely revamped, rewritten, restructured, enriched docs deployed consistently but fully by end of Q1. So for me, it comes down to the docs and the DevX. That is a big focus for our new head of DevRel, and we're going to be using Katara to help enable that to happen a lot faster. So that's coming. And then I also think these proof of concepts, because to customers, to try to attract them into our ecosystem, and to try to get them to understand what they can do with the technology. Is that does that answer your question?
To be honest, you cut so much that we didn't even hear it. I don't know if someone else could
Oh
have.
no. Uh, guys, can I get a thumbs up or a thumbs down from people? I'm not seeing any response. Can you guys hear
We
me?
lost, yeah, we lost some of what you just said there. I'd,
Oh,
we
I'm
lost like
sorry.
about, we lost like 60 seconds of the beginning of what you were saying.
Oh my goodness. Well, let's all just assume that I said the most intelligent things possible, because since we'll never know, I can get away with it. Um, Basically, what I was saying is yes. So, if I understand your question correctly, we will have massively improved developer experience, particularly focusing on upgrading our docs significantly. So, there is a big project that has already been kicked off. It's one of the first priorities that our DevRel lead identified when she came in. She's put a really awesome strategy document together. We're giving her superpowers by partnering with a platform called Katara, who are using AI to support her. So we will have completely redone documentation, and enhanced DevX by the end of Q1. But obviously, we'll be releasing updates as we have them. We're not waiting for the big ta-da. And I also think then the proof of concepts, like putting out tangible examples of how this can be used to improve interfaces, the grants that we're announcing, where we can talk about how multi-party computation is enabling people to solve problems in more elegant ways with better UX, with less friction. I think that, walking the walk and showing tangible examples, putting up a board of things that we think people can build with this technology, and then continually going out and pitching to companies how we think, they could improve their products and services by integrating multi-party computation. Please tell me that came through.
Yes, we heard you. We heard you talking loud and clear.
Good. Okay. Manny, what's on your mind?
Hello, everyone. How are you? I hope everyone's well. First of all, I'd just like to say, finally, I got to make it to a space again because I always keep missing them for some reason. But I was just going to say, look, there's quite a few people on this space. If you guys all hold MPC and you're hoping that this project succeeds, then, you need to do your own part. There's only been 4 retweets of this post. You can all press retweet. It takes like 2 seconds, and you need to start helping the project by growing its online presence, and it just takes a retweet. So I don't know why everyone hasn't retweeted by now. What I did want to add was, did you ever look at the Hashpack wallet and this new wallet that's coming over? I don't know what Kobe wallet is. Is it any similarities to it, or is it totally a different kind of UI?
I don't know the answer to that, but I can absolutely look into it. I don't know whether Bruce is. I don't think we've got Matthias on the call. Bruce, if you want to put your hand up to speak and come up and give a point of view on that. Otherwise, Manny, thank you very much for the shout out to the community. It is probably my fault because I didn't actually ask everyone to retweet, and that's actually poor drills on my part. I was so flustered with all of the technical issues. But it is, obviously, as a community, you can all help hugely. And yeah, thank you for raising that, because I do think it's key, and we would love to see more from you guys. As we do more, I'd love you guys to
I
do
just
more
got a
too.
couple of follow-up questions, and then I'll let somebody
Yeah,
else
of
jump
course.
on. So one of the first things I talked about in the first time I ever spoke to you was getting some roles for the people that early on, just to build that community. I've even talked about NFT and stuff as well, and I wanted to know if there is any movement on that, or you have considered it, or you're not interested in that. Also, what I was going to say, when it comes to privacy is a big thing, and I think after the Patriot Act, I think people kind of took more notice of how important privacy really is. And I think fear helps sell privacy as well. So that's how governments use fear. We've seen it through COVID, and people just gave up their liberties. But when that information is abused by agencies and companies, it can affect people. And I think how Partisia solves that, I think that needs to be at the forefront. So maybe when you are going to be doing your marketing, a great 60-second video showing the dangers of it and how MPC and Partisia is going to solve that. If you get what I mean, if you're from the UK, you remember those alcohol videos you used to get driving at Christmas. If you show that what the governments can do, what companies can do, and why Partisia can solve it, you give people a solution at the end, and you make it into like a small 16-second clip, like a small advert. I think that would be pretty cool. And and then it's kind of step by step instructions how people can learn what Partisia really is. Because I always said, if it's idiot proof, then adoption becomes much easier.
No, I agree. And taking those point by point, we absolutely haven't forgotten about that. Actually, I do remember our conversation. We had a slight setback in the person that I brought in to be our CMO. It didn't work out. We weren't seeing the pace and the drive that we needed. We've recently actually hired a marketing manager, so that we can quickly ramp up our content. He actually comes from within this community, but he has a really good pedigree on content, and he kind of blew me away with some of his take-home task output, where he was super proactive and put together some really great content. This is going to be something he can help support Maria on, and they can work together on it, because it probably straddles both marketing and community. And we're also still hiring a CMO, and I hope to be able to bring in a great candidate as quickly as I find them. I will be a little bit more cautious this time, but we will bring them in as quickly as we have confidence that we have the right person. And having that bandwidth will also be a huge enabler, I think, for us to do more for our long-term supporters and our original community. But I think that a strong engagement program with clear, engaging roles, it seems kind of trivial, I think, sometimes when we sit in our ivory towers. But actually, I've never seen a leaderboard I didn't want to climb. I've never seen a hierarchy I didn't want to climb. I think there's something incredibly engaging in doing that in the right way and doing it in a meaningful way, where you really are recognizing your committed supporters, but you're doing it, I guess, with a unique flavor. So I haven't forgotten.
Right. Okay. And then my last final question was: remember what I discussed with you? Like, I don't know who else is on this space, but some of us might be, your community might be in other projects. Is there the pitch deck
Of
that
course.
the pitch deck that we can use to help bring over other projects that are building on other chains that might want to join onto Partisia? So, is that pitch deck available yet?
It is coming through. So the reason the pitch has been developing, honestly, as every time I pitch the project, I find that I'm testing a narrative, I'm testing a line, I'm gauging response, and it's sharpened so much over the course of the last couple of months. One of the things that I need to do before the end of year is actually consolidate that into a deck. We've been focusing on consolidating it into an upgraded website, so that design is together. That tells the story of the project and is probably what will need to be included in the deck. We've also been pitching the project at places, in fact, in places like Cardano, but also, in Bangkok, we participated in a startup pitch competition just to test the narratives and get exposure to a large number of companies. We have been putting it together. It's also been evolving so rapidly. I haven't wanted to kind of press pause and refine it and share it. But you're absolutely right, and I think we're pretty much at the point now where we should do that and we can do that. So by end of year, I will have that in a shareable format for anybody that wants to support us and help us. We would love to engage with you.
Right, okay, well, I'm just going to get off, but I will leave this with you. And as you are the CEO and you are going to be quite busy, I usually just hang in the Discord more when I do pop in. I was going to say, look, maybe it'd be a good idea for like Shirley, Maria, I don't know who they really are, apart from when they leave some thingy, Brian, whatever, for them to actually host some community calls themselves and like weekly or whatever, and then for the community to actually get to know who these people are. When people have a relationship with the other members of staff, then it's much better because then there's more coherence in the community. So maybe Shirley and Maria can maybe host some community calls, and then when you come, it's more exciting. The CEOs come and speak to us, but then we put the CMs or whatever. So that I would leave you with that. So hopefully, Maria and Shirley can start hosting some community calls in Discord. It'd be much better because a relationship between the community and the team really needs to be built, which I'm seeing. So I'll be happy to help them if they need any help on that, but I hope that moves forward. But that's fine. I wish everybody a Merry Christmas. And I'll let somebody else jump up. No problem.
Thank you. Really appreciate all those comments. I think that's a great idea for what it's worth. Hansveer, I think you had your hand up to speak and you haven't had a chance yet.
Hello, thank you so much. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Fantastic. I hope everyone on the call is doing well. My complaint is pretty much the same as I've had like for a while now. The whole developer relations thing. So the latest sort of my experience in this was like party wallet isn't working for some reason, and I've been trying to create new wallets to launch my project. And again, I reached out to like the validator chat group. That's what I asked first. Like, is there a script where sort of we can bulk create wallets? Got no response there. I had sort of what do you call it ticket open. Thankfully, Will replied. He's like, there used to be sort of there used to be like a key generation thing, but they got appreciated. Then I reached out to Bruce. Bruce asked me to sort of join the developer community and then sort of ask there. And I asked there. And again, it's been 24 hours and I have like 2 responses. So, I mean, not to be like a Debbie Downer, but like in today's day of like instant gratification if you ask a question and within
Yeah.
even 24 hours later you have like absolutely zero responses. So I had no idea about what was happening till today morning when I heard you talk about it and you mentioned that something is wrong with the party wallet. So I mean, we do need
Yeah.
to really step up our game as far as developer relations are concerned, and
Yeah.
make sure that adequate sort of support is provided to developers as and when they need it. I think as a project, this is probably our biggest failure, and the result we can all see is that we hardly have any projects on board. So I feel in
Yeah.
hindsight that maybe the reason we don't have so many projects on board is maybe we made it too difficult for the one in the first place. So just want to mention that. Thank you.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And I mean, I know I said this on the call earlier. The challenges with Party Wallet are something that I'm deeply frustrated by. They are a third party, so they are a separate entity. They're a separate team. It's a team I don't have direct control over. Although we obviously do have strong lines of communication, and we are using them at the moment because I do think that we need them to up their game, and we also do need to up our game in terms of how we navigate that when people have problems. Thank you for bearing with us, and thank you for flagging it. And I do think DevX is going to be a core focus over the next quarter, and it needs to be. So you're absolutely right. Now, any more for any more? I did see Pitbull that you came up and you then disappeared. Is there anybody else that wants to come up? I see so many familiar faces in this space. So please, like, put your hand up if you want to say anything. Appreciate everybody who has shared questions. It's always it's vital to hear what you think and to get your input. And I love the ideas. It's one of the most energizing things for me actually in any project is kind of hearing ideas from outside, and I think they just help us massively raise our game. And as I said before, like I really do feel as though we are at an inflection point, and I know that that is very easy to say, but I think if you keep watching the feed and you keep watching the Telegram and the Discord, as we get towards the end of the year, you're going to, I hope, be saying exactly the same thing. And if you're not, come and tell me. But I think we have everything in place to have a good, strong end to the year, and to come into next year really strong with clear understanding of what we need to do to make sure that we grab this opportunity, because I feel like it's there. I feel like it is in front of us, and I can tell you for my part and for the part of everyone in the team that we will be doing everything in our power to make sure that we hit that at a sprint. And to Manny's point, I hope that we can count on every one of you to be there with us, supporting us. I know that there have been challenges, and I think if you're willing, now is the time to put those to one side and let's sprint together, because this is it. We have it in our grasp, and we just need to collectively reach out and seize it. And thank you for being with us on that, and I hope you are with us on that. And I have no doubt that if you are, there is something exciting that we can achieve. There's something massive that we can achieve. And I appreciate each and every one of you. And we will be speaking again after the Christmas. But in the meantime, I guess unless anybody else has any questions, I wish you all a very happy holiday. Hope that however you celebrate the holiday period, that it is wonderful for you, and that you are on the nice list, not the naughty list, like my two children who are just getting lumps of coal for Christmas. Not really. I'm not being entirely serious, although they probably do deserve coal. It's great to see everyone. My DMs are always open. Look forward to speaking to you again in 2 weeks' time, if not before. Thank you, guys.